I'm so thrilled to be partnered with D. Miller & Associates, PLLC. They are a firm that is setting out to be the leaders in responding to the situations of abuse that we have seen in the media. There are so many things that have come out from the Me Too movement into the Time's Up and then into 2020 now, where we're seeing these groundbreaking cases come alive with athletics and with stars, and it's a tragedy. However, this firm has realized that in order to represent these clients successfully, they need to provide the right types of services and resources. So by the wonderful paths of the way the world works, our paths crossed and we learned about each other and our goals and missions, and they really want to offer holistic services to the victims that they're representing. And this is on the civil side. Most of my career has been on the criminal side, but I love the intersection because at some point, some of these larger industries that have allowed and really encouraged this abuse to happen to people, men and women, adults and children, they have to be held accountable, and they may have to be held accountable in their pocketbook, and unfortunately that's the only way they're going to change this institutional abuse that they've allowed to happen. So we are working with victims of Jeffrey Epstein. We're working with human trafficking clients of major players, and we are working with victims of Boy Scout leaders and the Boy Scout situation and clergy. We have victims of Glen Mills School, which is a boarding school in the East that was perpetrating and allowing abuse for years, physical and sexual and mental. So the common thread of these survivors that I'm seeing is that their stories have been unheard all of these years. They have lived with these quiet tragedies in their hearts, their souls, their minds, and it has perpetrated a life for them that maybe they didn't want to live. We see now in society all of these tensions between genders and races, and at the core of all of these situations is hurt. People are wounded, and when hurt people hurt other people, you see, there has to be some resolve, and we have to do something different. So this firm, particularly D. Miller & Associates, said, let's bring together social workers, advocates, specialists that have dealt with trauma, that understand how living with these experiences has affected our clients, so that we can support them for the best outcomes. And whether or not there were ever criminal charges filed, this firm actually has changed laws in states so that they can hear cases, that cases can be tried criminally because they've gotten rid of the statutes of limitations. The people that work here are just committed to making change, and they see the travesties that have happened and they feel it personally. They're all parents and brothers and sisters, and they want these things to stop. I mean, they've said to me, Kim, it would be great if we didn't even need a team like this. We didn't need a sexual abuse response team. We didn't need to go against these colleges that have allowed abuses by their doctors and people under the guise of professionals that have taken our young men and women as students in college and perpetrated abuse on them. So they said, this is going to stop at some point, we hope, but in the meantime, we're going to be there to wrap our arms around them. And so they've asked me to train their staff and to partner with them in a way that they can be the specialists, so that when survivors are working on that civil side, they know that they can trust the people that are representing them. So for me, it's been an honor. Also to step into some of these more high-profile cases where there may be media around these situations, which brings up another whole area of trauma for the survivors, because they're all of a sudden blasted in the media, social media, and people that want to tear down their stories and their reputations. And so they need someone to stand up for them. They need a voice. And for me, it's the pinnacle of my career to be able to bring years of advocacy and years of honing the best way to work with people in these situations, to allow them to be heard, to be a voice for them, to join with them. So now we can do this at a high-level platform, supporting them, and it's just really an honor to be at this place in my career. So I'm loving that. But at the bottom of the issue is that people have been abused, people have been hurt, and they have been sent on this trajectory that they never meant to go on, and someone needs to hear that. And so that's what I love to do. I love to join them and to say, you're not alone. but to also give them information about how to have some sort of restoration in life that looks different for everybody. But I'm joining them in a place that we can walk and build and walk across a bridge together into like a new realm of hope and inspired living, whether that means taking the tragedy and weaving it into who they are, or just working through it through therapy and through ways that they can process it so they can kind of be free from the bind, from the bond that it's held them in, so they can break free from that and finally start living a life where there's true hope, where that hope was lost.